Good day, Duke Stefan here, and we're going to have a look at an SCA fight video today, and this is between His Majesty Leofric of Lockhart and Master Ianto of Lockhart. So let's get straight into it. So, oh, that background is really kind of distracting. Let's can we make that the full screen? Yeah, that's better. All right, let's have a look at this. Cool. So I've queued it up here to just start when they're about to fight. So we're literally just going to look at the first bout of this video and see what we can see. So let's have a look. A little bit of a classic Leofric. I'm throwing my sword around to see if you fall for anything. Ianto shaping him up. We get a nice little, couple little fakes there, little commit. Oh, nice. Okay, nice little head snap there. There was a lot in that. So let's go back and let's actually have a look and see what we see. So ultimately, a little bit of sizing up between the two of them, checking range, getting a feel for where the threat marks are in this fight, and ultimately, His Majesty Leofric was able to throw a snap straight into the sort of top quarter of Master Ianto's head there. So let's go back and start looking at what we start to see. So a little bit of sizing up here. So big step in, and that drop that Leofric does on less experienced fighters, I've seen him do that, and that drop that he does makes them drop their shield. And if they drop their shield at that moment, he will throw the snap right then. So it's a little kind of at range test for him. He doesn't look like he's in range there, but a little bit of a shuffle off this back foot here, and he can be in range at that point very quickly. And if you look at the length of his arm, because he's a very tall man, and then the length of his sword, he would probably still be able to connect with Ianto's head there without doing too much of a movement of his feet. A little bit of a lean forward, a little bit of a drive into that with his body, and he's going to cut that range rather quickly. So that was kind of nice. So let's try and arrange my keyboard here. Oh, that's 5 seconds. That's a bit too much. We'll go back here. Let's see that step again. I love it. And it's weird, that straight leg sort of... Oh, hello. Now, for the first time ever, my new phone decides to talk to me. All right, so I love this weird straight leg thing, but anyway, bit of fun. So Leofric has an amazing fluidity about the way that he fights, and if you watch him fight, and if you look at Ianto's channel, you'll see lots of Leofric's fighting, and he's just got this incredible flow about what he does, and it can be very deceiving and also very deceptive in the the same word. Anyway, it can be very deceptive in its range and where he is, and he'll use that as a distraction to change his feet and that sort of thing. So it's a fairly classic entrance from him. He'll do this to try and sort of see what you might react to, which is great. And this is a really nice moment from Ianto. Ianto pushes in and gets himself a little bit of ground and makes Leofric back off. So that's a really nice little pressure moment from Ianto. His guard is still very clear, so he's got his shield up nice and high, just kind of on his nose, and that classic kind of classic style framing for that. You can see Leofric's dropped his sword back to try and prep that. So a little bit of sizing up, playing at range here. Let's see what happens just before we get into this. All right, so you see that kind of double pump there from Leofric, just again testing that water, seeing what Ianto's going to react to. And as he stepped forward, that's quite a big, pointing at the screen, that's quite a big step here. So if we actually look at this, this is actually quite a big step by Leofric. So, I mean, he's tall. I mean, and this is actually a really great example. Let's have a look at, see if I can get my little pen here. Look at the distance. Oh, that's super huge. Let's stitch that. Let's get a slightly narrower pencil. How do I get a narrower pencil? Settings. Can I? I don't know what's going on there. Let me have a look at this. Sorry. I don't know why that's so thick. That's bizarre. Weird. All right, well, let's see if I can get... Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. That was not that thick before. That's... Anyway, you get that sense of... We'll use this super thick line, but look at the height difference here. So Ianto's head is, his eyes are pretty much at level with Leofric's shoulder. So when you think about that, you look at that line there. If Leofric throws his arm out flat for a snap, he is essentially coming in over the center of Ianto's shield. And that's obviously, that height advantage is giving him that extra distance to be able to come in on that line. So that's a really interesting thing. So you get a really great sense of the height here. They're basically standing on the same plane there. And this is a good visual of the two height differences. So that's really interesting. So Leofric takes that big step in. Ianto takes the step back at that point, which is pumps in. Interesting. Look at the physical movement of Ianto in this moment. Let's just back this up a bit. I think this is just really important to note. Does that double take, and he kind of steps in, but then steps to the side as he thinks something's coming. He's trying to protect himself. He's actually twisted sideways as he's done that. So he has taken a giant step here, which is going to leave him a little bit grounded. And he creates the opening. Something else that I noticed that's really interesting. Look at how his shield's dropped. So before, when we were looking at his shield was up covering his nose in our view. And now it's dipped. So I'd be interested to see how that drops further. So it's coming up there, but at this point, it's a little bit too late. And you can see this extra height. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Look at this. Look at what's happening here. So as Ianto comes in, Leofric realizes the shield's coming up and he needs some extra angle to get over the center point of his shield. Look what he does. He just rises up on his tippy toes and just pops up over to give himself that little bit of extra height. Ianto, as he's come in, has dipped a little. So now if you look at the head height, his head is now in line by those two adjustments, Leofric going up and Ianto dropping down. His head is now in line with Leofric's armpit, whereas before it was his shoulder. So that height just gives Leofric a whole lot of angle to play. And if you look here where that sword is coming, it's coming over the weakest part of that shield, which is that center line. So had Ianto pushed his shield out a little bit so that this corner was coming this way, I really wish that my pen wasn't so thick. I don't know what's going on with that. But if this was all right, let's just ditch that. I'll work out what's going on. Oh, here we go. That's it. So if this shield tip was traveling this way as he was coming in, rather than the whole shield traveling that way with him, this wouldn't be quite so as exposed here, which I think is really interesting. So he's come in and the shield has just traveled with him, creating this big gap over the top of his head and just allowing Leofric to throw that snap and clearly just land it beautifully. A little bit of a lift here from him as well, which is great. One thing that I know I do a lot lately is I break my spinal alignment a lot at the moment. I'm leaning a lot on stuff. But Ianto, beautiful alignment. Leofric, not too off his alignment here, which is great. So the other thing that I really love about this, and I'll just step back 5 seconds. I'll just click on here. Let's just see this shot here. So big step. See if we can see. Okay. So see how aligned he is here. This is lovely. And look at what happens. Like he doesn't move his feet so much, but he really gets his body in behind this shot. And so when we're talking about power, you need that body force to follow the shot, right? You need some force there. And because he's not really moving his feet and his feet aren't moving, he's engaged at the hips and his whole upper torso is powering this shot. And just look at the way his body rolls as he lands that. It's just this beautiful full rotation in there. Just plenty of power. So lovely shot, lovely setup too. So he's thrown a couple of things that make Ianto think he can get in. And as he's done that, Ianto's given him the line by taking the step. and Leofric hasn't had to move too much to do that. Now, obviously, Leofric's a much more advanced fighter at this point. Ianto's not too shabby, don't get me wrong, but just classic snapshot there with the setup. That was beautiful. So, yeah, a few things in there. So that little rise, the physical alignment of both of them is good. And interesting, that dip down that Ianto did as he took that step, and as he lands, his whole upper body drops because you're extending your feet base. It means that you're actually going to end up lower than you were before. So that combined with that little rise onto his tiptoes over here with Leofric gave him a lot better line and a lot more space to be able to land that shot. There you go. Fun little fight. First fight. We'll leave it there for now because still getting used to this myself. I'm sure there's a whole lot more in there that I didn't see, but this is great to be able to have this asset for us to view and see. So I'm excited about doing this again. So thanks very much for joining me, and let's look at some more videos very, very soon. See ya.